Put your little hand in mine. There ain't no hill or mountain.
Fuck you! That's my name!
Service is calling for a big blizzard thing.
Yes, they are. But you know, there's another reason why today is especially exciting.
Especially cold.
Especially cold, okay. But the big question on everybody's lips.
Yeah, their chapped lips.
On their chapped lips,
Chapped
right.
lips.
Do you think Phil's gonna come out and see a shadow?
Punxsutawney Phil.
That's right, woodchuck chuckers. It's Groundhog Day! Get up and check that hog out there!
Yes! Come here, Groundhog!
Let's start talking about Groundhog Day.
Let's start talking about Groundhog Day. Let's introduce the show. This is Sharks Across Hollywood, and we're going to talk about Groundhog Day today, and tomorrow, and the next day, and the day after that, and the day after that.
For 1,000 years.
And the day after that, and the day after that, because we're never going to become better people.
Have you heard Harold Ramis's thoughts on it?
No, but you should tell me, because that would be good. I didn't listen to the commentary track, which I should have.
I don't have the commentary track. I have Groundhog Day on Laserdisc, and then because... Oh, what I was going to tell you earlier is my dad got COVID. Because my dad got COVID, all my movies are out at his house.
Oh, no.
All my non-boutique... non-Criterion, Shout Factory, Arrow, Vinegar Syndrome. Everything else is out at his house. And so my Laserdisc is out at his house. So I was like, well, fuck. So I just bought a digital copy of it. And by the way, I earned enough bonus points with that digital copy, pushed me over the bonus points meter to where I got a free movie. And I picked the Buddy Holly story starring Gary Busey. Admittedly, they did not give me a huge list of movies to choose from.
No.
It was like 9 movies, and that was the only one I actually wanted to see.
That's okay. He's really proud of that movie, so it's okay.
I love me some Gary Busey, and I know he loves that movie. But anyway, so I ended up buying it digitally. But yeah, those are the only versions I own. I own the Laserdisc, and I own my digital copy.
I got the 4K.
I did want to buy the 4K, but there wasn't enough time to get the 4K and get it shipped to me. So I was like, all right, fuck it. I'm just going to buy the
Well, yeah, that's why last week I'm like, hey, we're going to do something a little different because I'm not going to have the fucking movie in time.
It was okay because the 4K, at least the ones that I found, don't come with a digital copy. So I was like, all right, well, this is okay because I'll eventually buy the 4K anyway, and it doesn't have a digital copy. So
mine has 4K Blu-ray and a digital copy.
Oh, okay. Well, you must have gotten a fancy fucker's version.
I did, and the digital copy worked, so I have it on my Vudu account. I'm gonna start simping for Vudu because the Movies Anywhere account it attaches to Vudu, so you can get all your actual movies right there. Most of them, Apple doesn't give you all the movies, the ones that you have on Vudu, because it's going to be Vudu or it's going to be iTunes now. For the most part. So we're going to talk about Groundhog Day today. So also this episode, when you're listening to it, will have come out on Groundhog Day. That's why we're doing Groundhog Day. I took a different route with this. Mostly I took the lazy route because I just didn't feel like watching this movie a second time.
You?
But lucky for me, it's a very simple movie, really, in concept and stuff, so it's probably going to be okay. But I will have you know that I took one note, but it was today at work when I was listening to the shitty radio station they play there.
And what, did Sonny and Cher come on?
I realized that the song Tainted Love is not about a relationship gone bad. It's about teabagging. Tainted love.
Does that have to do with anything?
Nothing.
You were just like, I gotta shoehorn this into the podcast somehow.
I just wanted to tell everybody because the word taint is in the title.
Oh my God, what a reach. Wow. Congratulations. Not only is this a monumentous moment in the history of Sharks Across Hollywood, this is also the furthest we've ever reached to try and shoehorn a joke into a podcast.
I am not reaching that far. The word taint does not come up ever in Groundhog Day, but I'm sure Bill Murray has one.
I don't know, man. I only had one note too, but I didn't need to write it down. I was just like, I'm making a mental note of this. There's no way I'm going to forget it now because
Is it relevant now or
yes,
do we?
no,
okay.
it's actually relevant. This is something I just discovered while watching the movie this time. Remember, I've seen this movie at least 20 or 30 times, and I'm still making new discoveries about it.
That's what happens when you start watching a movie so many times. You're barely watching the movie, and you're just looking at random shit in the background or whatever. So what is your discovery?
My discovery is that one of my favorite actors is in this movie, and I never knew it. And he was a nobody when the movie was made, but he is now one of my favorite actors. The great Michael Shannon.
You didn't. I told you that last time. I remember. Oh, by the way, everybody, we did this movie 4 years ago, but you never heard it because it was a practice episode.
Wait, you mentioned that he was in it last time?
Yeah. I remember because I made a big fucking deal about how Bill Murray gave him like WrestleMania tickets and shit.
Yeah, no. See, I had no idea. Like, I had honestly completely forgotten. I watched the movie twice this year, okay?
That's Michael Shannon.
That's how often
him.
I've watched it. And I still, you told me now. This is blowing my fucking mind.
That would never get past me. That would never, even back then, before I knew anything, that would never, ever get past me.
I watched it earlier this year and didn't catch it.
And I love it. There's a scene later where Michael Shannon shows up. Michael Shannon, as some of you may or may not know, was like Zod in Man of Steel. Among other things. He's been in way fucking better movies.
Among other movies that actually illustrate that he's a good actor. He's one of the best actors of this current generation as far as I'm concerned.
I think he's a little hammy, but I also think he does it on purpose.
I think he's fantastic, and I think he does it on purpose.
He's an overactor, and it's fucking terrific.
I'm not going to say he's not an overactor, but he's the best kind of overactor there is. He's the kind of overactor like a Nicolas Cage.
That's really important. We'll get to that when we start talking about like the actual journey that Bill Murray...
I can't fucking believe you told me this already.
I did.
And it didn't stick in my brain.
And I love it.
No, I love it. But it's so wild to me that, like, you must have told me that, and then my mind was just like, oh, we don't need that information. And then the next time I watched it, since we did that podcast, by the way, I've probably watched it 7 times.
Yeah, guys, we've been doing this for 4 years.
I watch it at least once a year, sometimes multiple times per year. I've already watched it twice this year.
Jesus.
At no point since that podcast did I ever notice that Michael Shannon was in it.
That's okay. I've probably watched all 3 Karate Kid movies at least 3 or 4 times in the last 12 months. All 3 of them. And the next Karate Kid. And Cobra Kai, like 4 or 5 times.
Okay, I take that back, though. The Nice was directed at the first 3 Karate Kids, not the next Karate Kid.
The next Karate Kid
Nice.
is a classic, and it was...
Emphasis on the sick.
It was snubbed at the Oscars that year.
I talk a lot of shit, but the truth is I haven't watched it since the 90s, and I might actually enjoy it if I went back and watched it now that I don't have a bunch of unrealistic expectations for it.
No, keep an open mind. It's fucking awful. But it's the right kind of awful. It's one of those. And it's fun to watch Hilary Swank before she was really famous.
Okay, what the fuck are we talking about? Oh, Groundhog
We're talking
Day.
about Groundhog Day.
God damn it.
So... Like I said, I didn't take notes, so the plot points are going to be kind of all over the place. But should we try to take them through that first day? That's important.
Sure, the first day is significant.
Yes.
Well,
so
technically, it's the second day that's significant.
Well, yeah.
Because it's the second day he keeps reliving.
Yep,
the first
yep,
day,
you're right.
he just, he's a weatherman who's an asshole. Like, I'm watching it this time, and I'm kind of thinking to myself, I'm thinking about the show. I'm thinking about talking about it, and I'm watching it, and I'm kind of like, he really is a scumbag of a character. Like, the only reason I can justify just like straight up workplace hostile environment sexual harassment, like right out the gate, day one, first words out of his mouth.
What does he say?
He's like, well, it's not the first words out of his mouth, but like one of the first things he says to Rita, got that thing, she's like, well, if there's anything I can help you with, he's like, could you help me with my pelvic tilt?
Yeah.
I'm like, you're gonna get your ass fired for that kind of talk, you piece of shit.
Not in the early 90s.
Yeah, that's true. No, not in the early 90s.
You get a handshake, and she gets told to just let it happen.
Yeah, in the early 90s, she gets yelled at by the executive producer for being a problem.
So Bill Murray's character, what's his name? Pete. I keep on wanting Pontucky. Phil
Connors.
I keep on every time I hear what is it? Pontucky.
Punxsutawney Phil.
Punxsutawney. I'm always like Pawtucket Pete from Family Guy. Bill Murray's a weatherman with delusions of grandeur who thinks he's
Seriously, how do you get an ego about being a weatherman on a Philadelphia TV station? I mean, yes, okay, that's a big market, but still, you're the fucking weatherman.
He says major networks are interested in him.
Even if they are, you're a fucking weatherman.
And
who's the most famous weatherman of all time? Al Roker. Who gives a shit? That is D-grade celebrity at best.
yeah, and I'm not going to live to be 100, so it's not going to be fucking matter anyways, and he's going to be dead by then either way.
Anyway, he's such an asshole in this
Yes.
opening sequence.
What
He's
is-
such a fucking piece of
So
shit.
he makes nice on TV with this anchor lady who's like, "Oh, you're gonna go to wherever the fuck
Punxsutawney.
Gobbler's Knob,"
Yep.
because they had to call it that and make me go.
The thing is, I think it's a real place. I think the place is actually called Gobbler's Knob in Punxsutawney, PA. Punxsutawney, PA is a real thing.
Oh, okay.
Punxsutawney Phil is a real thing.
Do they call themselves knob gobblers?
That's all I can think of whenever I hear it.
That's my movie. I'm gonna call it Knob Goblins, and it's exactly what you think it is.
It's all about zombies who only eat dicks.
Goblins who only eat dicks.
Okay, so it's like Ghoulies, but with penises.
Yeah, lots and lots and lots of penises.
I want to star as one of the goblins.
Yeah, you will. So he's making nice with the lady, and she's like, "You're gonna go to Punxsutawney. You're gonna see the I almost called him a gopher again. The groundhog, and it's gonna be really exciting." And he's like, She's like, "How many years is it?" He's like, "It's my 4th year or whatever."
No. She says, "Well, you must really love it. You've gone up, what, 3 years now?" And he just gives her this fuck you look and goes, 4, Nan. 4.
And then what does he call her after that? They get out, the camera's cut. He walks away and says, "Okay, hairdo."
Yeah, hairdo. I will have you know, hairdo, a major network is interested in me.
And then off in the distance, fucking around and being so goddamn adorable,
Andy McDowell.
Andy Macdowell is the sweetest fucking person on the planet.
This is definitely her cutest, sweetest role ever.
Yeah, I like her. She's in front of the blue screen and she's like messing around with the TV, just kind of, how weathermen don't actually see that shit on that big wall behind them. There's a little TV monitor that they look at. It's probably bigger now, but
at the time it was like a 12-inch TV.
Yeah, that's how they do the stuff. And she was playing around with it, and Bill Murray, you can see automatically he's like, "Oh shit, I kind of like her, but I'm an asshole. I got to be an asshole to her for a while." He immediately, there's like a snap. He's like, "Hey, I like her. Oh fuck, I'm gonna treat her like shit now."
Yeah, he was into negging way before it was a popular move.
Yeah, and this is where they talk to each other for a minute, and then he says, does he say that pelvic tilt
I
move
can't remember
now?
exactly where he says it, but suffice to say, he busts it out early, and I'm just like, Jesus, man, over the line. It's okay because here's the reason I'm okay with it, because he's supposed to be the biggest possible asshole in the beginning.
The only way this works is if he's a huge dick, right?
Yeah, he has to be a piece of shit for like 500 years before he finally starts to straighten himself out.
So really, honestly, you guys know the plot of this movie. Everybody knows this. Everybody and their grandma knows what I feel like I'm in Groundhog Day. Everybody knows what that means.
He goes to Punxsutawney.
He goes to Punxsutawney. He does. He doesn't like it. I don't blame him. I'm kind of a dick myself. We'll get into that. That's why I didn't take notes, because I had a whole thing that we're just going to go on some rants here in a few minutes.
Okay, so
Don't you worry.
All right, so he goes to Punxsutawney with the adorable Andy McDowell and their cameraman / van driver
Played by Chris Elliott, who's awesome. I love Chris Elliott.
Who I loved at that point because of his show Get a Life.
He was an actor. I thought he was the best-selling author of The Shard of the Thwacker.
Is that a real thing?
Yes, it is. I have it right over there.
Oh my God, I did not realize Chris Elliott had written anything ever.
No, I got it.
Excuse me, aside from sketches, because I know he was on SNL.
I've never read it, but I never read it, but I found it, and I'm like, oh, Chris Elliott, I like him. He's funny. I'm going to get it. But yeah, so...
Speaking of Chris Elliott, you know what? Kino Lorber just recently came out with a re-release of Cabin Boy that I need to see, because I haven't watched Cabin Boy since the 90s.
I've seen the cover.
I feel like it's one of those movies that I'm going to enjoy more if I go back and rewatch it.
You ever seen Adam Sandler's first movie?
The Out to Sea or whatever.
Going Overboard.
Yeah, that was it. I've seen it in the bargain bins at Walmart's in the early 2000s.
I saw it too, and I bought it.
That was a huge mistake, I'm gonna say.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Movie's really rough.
Yeah, it looked like a piece of shit, and it looked like the kind of piece of shit that he probably shows up for about 12 seconds in. And
no, he's in the whole movie.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay, I am shocked.
Yep. He wasn't famous enough to be that cool yet.
No.
Oh,
I
you mean
just
he just
meant
had a cameo role.
Like,
and,
no,
yeah.
no, I don't even mean a cameo role. I mean, it was probably one of my thought had always been that it was probably one of those situations where he was a young actor, so he was willing to be in any piece of shit that would give him a line, and so he had a walk-on line where he was like, hey, where can I go take my dick out? And then walks off screen to go take his dick out. You know, like, I figured it was just one of those situations.
And then starring Adam Sandler.
Exactly.
Like they did with Jack Nicholson in fucking Little Shop of Horrors.
Well, what I was thinking is more like what they did with Ben Chang in Community in the episode where he goes to Hollywood and becomes the ham girl guy.
Or Tony Jaa in this movie called Spirited Killer. He's all over the cover. He's literally in it for a second. He runs on the screen, gets his ass kicked, and then he's done.
The end.
They have a cute little moment in the car. Well, Annie McDowell has a cute moment. Bill Murray has an asshole moment.
Literally every moment she's in, she's cute.
Someday somebody's going to see me interviewing a groundhog. Think I don't have a future.
I think it's a nice story. He comes out. He looks around. He wrinkles up his little nose. He sees his shadow. He doesn't see his shadow. It's nice. People like it.
You are new, aren't you? You know, people like blood sausage, too. People are morons.
And then he's just a fucking dick to her. Like, shutting down everything she has to say. Like, fuck you, dude. Honestly, I'm shocked that she's still talking to him by day 2.
Right? She's just all flowers and shit. They get to Punxsutawney and they go to their separate hotels.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, he gets a bed and breakfast because he's like, are we staying together? She's like, fuck no.
No.
She doesn't say it like that.
They're getting out
nice.
at the hotel, and he's like, I fucking hate this place. You cannot make me stay here. I stayed here 2 years ago, and it fucking sucks. And she's like, you're not no, he says, and I'm not staying here. She goes, you're not staying here. I actually got you a place at a bed and breakfast, really nice place downstairs. And he's like, oh, you know what? You sound like you're going to be a great producer. Keep the talent happy. And then Chris Elliott's like, did he actually just call himself the talent? Chris Elliott's got some good rejoinders.
He does. That's basically the end of day 1. That's it, right?
Yep. And yeah, so basically he goes in, just wait. The next scene, I'm pretty sure, is him waking up the next morning to a song we're going to get real fucking familiar with.
Then put your little hand in mine. There ain't no hill or mountain we can't climb. Babe, I got you, babe.
I've been tired of this goddamn song for a while. I Got You Babe by Sonny and Cher at 6 a.m., right? 6 a.m.?
6 a.m. on the dot. And then we get Brian Doyle Murray and someone else who apparently the mayor of the town is also the host of their local radio station.
See, now when I was watching it the first time, that first bit, I'm like, oh, that sounds like that guy. I didn't really realize he was going to be in the movie. I didn't really pay attention to the credits. And then he shows up at like a few seconds later. I'm like, oh, fuck, it's that guy. Like, was he on the radio? I'm very confused right now.
Actually, now that I think about it, I'm wondering if I'm not taking that mayor thing for granted as one of those early assumptions. You know, because like I was telling you, I had that assumption about Santa Claus that the Keymaker was Hercules, and I've thought this for years now. It's been like 10 years since the first time I saw Santa Claus. I've always thought the Keymaker was Hercules. And then we watched it, and he wasn't Hercules. He was just the Keymaker. Now I'm thinking, I've always thought Brian Doyle Murray was the mayor, but maybe he's just a radio host who hosts the Groundhog celebration.
I'm gonna say I think he's the mayor. He's definitely the mayor.
Is he listed as the mayor?
No.
Who's he listed as?
I think
Buster?
just Buster. Yeah, that's it.
I don't think he's the mayor now that I'm taking a critical outsider's look at this. So we wake up, Sonny and Cher. Good morning, woodchuckers. It's Groundhog Day. Which, by the way, that would be a great way to open the podcast.
I really hate radio hosts.
So do I, but that's what's hilarious about this, is he has to wake up to that every goddamn morning.
Potentially for 1,000 years.
Speaking of which, yes, Harold Ramis has said that as far as he's concerned, Phil was in that day for 1,000 years.
I watched a couple videos where they're like, oh, let's see how many days. Like, okay, if we go like every time there's a cut, we'll call it a different day because you never figure out how many days.
Well, now granted, the first 5 days they show you, like in succession, they show you the first 5 days, and then they do a hard cut and it jumps to him at the armored car, which clearly took him a lot of repeats to memorize.
Yeah, it's
because he has this down. Like he's repeating the character's dialogue back to them. And then that night He takes the hooker to Heidi 2, and he says, "This is my favorite movie. I've seen it over 100 times."
Yeah. Oh, he does. Yes.
And you got to figure he's not going to the movie every day. So you're probably looking at a year passes between day 5 and the next day that they show.
Do you think this little town has a video store?
Probably, yeah. It's the late 80s, early 90s. Video stores were at the height of their popularity.
How many times do you think he watched every movie in that video store?
Probably a lot.
How many nights did he spend jerking himself off and to sleep, just like crying?
Honestly, realistically, given his whole thing with Nancy later on, which was day 5, by the way, was Nancy. He figured out really early how to get laid on demand.
Well, yeah. Yeah. We'll get to that because that's part of that's part of the thing I was thinking about. So going through this second day, right? We wake up, we hear the thing. He walks out of his room and runs into that dude whose name I don't know.
Ned.
No, not Ned yet. Not Ned yet. He's still in the thing.
Okay, you're talking about.
Morning.
Morning.
You off to see the groundhog?
Yes, I am.
Do you think it's gonna be an early spring?
I'm predicting March 21st.
Oh, good guess. You know, I think that actually is the first day of spring.
And he's really... Is he annoyed that he doesn't recognize him? Because it seems like he
You mean
would
the
be.
second day or the first day?
The first day. As like a TV personality.
It's certainly possible. It would completely be in character for him to be irritated that this guy doesn't recognize him. But he's a dick to him right out the gate anyway.
He goes downstairs and he meets up with the lady. Don't remember her name. Her name is Mrs. Lancaster, who plays the lady from fucking The Wedding Singer, who talks about all those couples that are no longer together.
Yes, who is also in Trapped in Paradise, which you should watch, and we should do this Christmas. It's one of my favorite Christmas movies. I just saw that Rachel's got a copy, so you have no excuse not to watch it.
All right, we'll see. Fuck Christmas. Hail Satan.
That's what you're getting this year. You're getting the Fuck Christmas shirt from Friday the 13th.
I like it. So he runs into her and, he gets coffee. And what does he do to her? She's like, "Are you going to be checking out today?" And he's like, "Chance of checkout, 100%.
Well, this is after he does like a little weatherman spiel. To
Oh,
her,
yeah.
Just
he does
to
that
be a
thing.
dick to everybody.
Because he's super fucking cool.
This sweet, sweet old lady is like, "So, I hear there's chance of snow," and then he goes into his weatherman spiel.
There's talk of a blizzard.
Well, we may catch a break, and that blizzard's going to blow right by us. All of this moisture coming up out of the south, by midday, is probably going to push on to the east of us. And at high altitudes, it's going to crystallize and give us what we call snow. Probably be some accumulation. But here in Punxsutawney, our high's going to get up to about 30 today. Teens tonight. Chance of precipitation about 20% today, 20% tomorrow. Did you want to talk about the weather, or were you just making chit-chat?
He is such a colossal knob. It's completely fitting where he's headed.
Yes. He makes it to the park, right? No, he doesn't make it to the park. I'm skipping over stuff because there's a thing that I want to talk about. But, I'm getting excited. So he starts walking to the park, and that's where he runs into Ned Ryerson. Played by Stephen Tobolowsky, who you've undoubtedly seen in 1,000 different things.
You have, but I think even he recognizes that Ned Ryerson is his most iconic role. Because he came back a few years ago and did Ned Ryerson for like a series of commercials. I think it was insurance commercials even.
Oh my God,
if I remember
that makes
correctly.
sense. Yeah, he's an insurance salesman. Fucking dreaded insurance salesman. And Bill Murray. Oh, the one of the funniest things about this part is when Bill Murray walks around the corner. There's a homeless guy, and he's like, "Change?" He doesn't say that, but But then he pats his jacket like he's looking for it, and then just kind of walks away.
Yeah, total dick move. You like patting his jacket, not even trying to find anything. And then as soon as he's passing, he's like, "Oh, fuck that guy."
Ned Ryerson shows up, and this guy's annoying as fuck right off the bat. I hate people like this so much.
Oh my God. And of course he has to be an insurance salesman.
Hey, Phil? Phil Connors? Phil Connors, I thought that was you.
How you doing? Thanks for watching.
Hey. Now, don't you tell me you don't remember me, because I sure as heck fire remember you.
Not a chance.
Ned! Ryerson! Needle-nosed Ned the head? Come on, buddy. Case Western High. Ned Ryerson, I did the whistling belly button trick at the high school talent show. Bing! Ned Ryerson got the shingles real bad senior year, almost didn't graduate. Bing! Again! Ned Ryerson, I dated your sister Mary Pat a couple times till you told me not to anymore. Well?
Ned Ryerson?
Bing!
Now, don't say you don't remember me, because I sure as heck fire remember you.
Sure as heck fire, that'll come back later. again and again and again.
Ned Ryerson was, I think, probably the first time I howled with laughter during this movie the first time I saw it.
I like the one where he I don't know how many days in it is, but he's just having fun at this point. This is where it's the point when you're in this situation where you start having fun with it because you're like, I can do whatever the fuck I want. Ned Ryerson walks up to him and he's like, yeah, I remember you. And then he hugs him and like starts getting all handsy with him and shit.
And he really holds him. He says, I don't know what you're doing later, but can you call in sick?
And that was my favorite part.
And Ned's response, I gotta go, Phil. What's funny about it, it's not the gay thing. What's funny about it is the homophobia thing. What we're laughing at is, what I'm laughing at anyway, is Ned's immediate homophobia. Like, that's all it took to get Ned to run away screaming.
So the first time he runs into Ned, it's still a little weird. Obviously, Bill Murray doesn't recognize this motherfucker, and I don't know how you could forget a guy like that, though. So irritating, but, like, seems like a nice enough guy, right?
I'm sure he probably is. I mean, later on, you know, like, he's still irritating as fuck, but he's just, you know, like, now he's Phil's biggest fan.
Definitely a Republican, though.
Oh, for sure. So is Bill. Or Phil.
Well, I don't like Phil either, so.
I mean, Phil's got to be, right?
What about Andy? She's a moderate.
She's totally got Hollywood liberal written all over her.
Not in real life. I'm talking in the movie.
No, I mean her character in the movie. Like, she's talking about puppies and always drinking to world peace.
That's true.
Like Phil rolls his eyes so fucking hard when she says that.
But he has to pretend like he likes it so he can get laid.
I think she inspires genuine feelings in Phil, but Phil is so out of touch with his genuine feelings that all he can do is react with sarcasm.
Well, like I said, the first time he saw her, there's that split second where he's like, "Wow, oh fuck her."
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Not falling for that shit. What happens to with the Ned thing? Does he try to get him to buy insurance right now?
No,
he says you probably have life insurance, but nobody has enough, right? Or some shit.
Yeah, he says, "Do you have life insurance? Because if you do, you could always use a little more."
I don't even know what that means. What the fuck does that mean? What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
You can get more coverage.
I know you can.
If you have $100,000 policy, it could be a $500,000 policy, or it could be $1 million policy. You know,
granted, I guess
always get more.
I guess Ned didn't know Phil was single without kids. I mean, I assume he doesn't have kids. Who the fuck knows how many kids this guy has floating around Philadelphia right now?
Phil's kind of a douchebag, so who knows? It's anybody's guess.
That's pretty funny. I didn't even think about that.
Incidentally, there's a Groundhog Day video game. It's a VR game.
Of course
and you play Phil and Rita's son.
Why? What?
I don't know. I don't know why, but apparently you play Phil and Rita's son, and you get caught in your own personal Groundhog Day.
Kind of want to play it though.
It
sounds horrible.
So do I. It sounds awful, but I want to know. But you have to have a VR system, and I don't have a VR system, so.
There's so many movies with this exact same plot. I know this probably wasn't the first one.
A time loop movie?
Yeah.
It's not the first time loop story I'm aware of, but it is the first time loop movie I am aware of.
Okay.
That doesn't mean it's the first time loop movie. It just means it's the first one that I know exists.
But our knowledge is
admittedly limited.
Clearly, I can't even make it through the first scene in the fucking movie.
Speaking of which, did you see Palm Springs?
Yeah, I was just going to bring it up too. Yeah,
really enjoyed that. Yeah.
Yeah, except spoilers for Palm Springs, everybody. It's kind of like this, where he does learn a lesson, but they break the time loop by going into a cave or some shit. I don't remember.
They break the time loop by setting.
Like, isn't it like they?
Spoiler alert for Palm Springs. If you don't want Palm Springs spoiled, stop the podcast now and skip ahead like a minute. They break the time loop by setting off a bomb inside the singularity.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, which is in a cave and which blows them out of the time loop.
That movie was cool.
I dug it, but it was a little too intelligent, I think, for me.
You know,
I need something a little dumber than that.
You know what it did for me? Made me mad at How I Met Your Mother again.
Okay, that's fair. That is a fair reaction to have to
because that girl is so fucking cute.
She is.
And I got so fucking pissed when we met her and then they killed her. Spoiler alert for How I Met Your Mother.
How I Met Your Mother.
Guess what? Who fucking cares? You spend 9 years with those characters that you grow to love, and then you want that girl shows up and you're like, she's fucking perfect. And then they're like, we're going to kill her. And you're just going to go back with the woman from the first episode.
I didn't even watch the final season. I heard about that and I was like, fuck you. Now I don't even want to watch it.
The last episode of How I Met Your Mother and the last season of Game of Thrones should go fuck each other and die.
Okay.
Anyways,
Groundhog Day.
So as he's leaving Ned, after being a huge dick to him, he steps in this fucking crazy puddle. It is so deep.
It's like knee deep.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's probably only shin deep, but still.
And he does it like 12 fucking times in the movie, and it's really funny that it takes him that long to learn.
3 or 4 times. But.
Yeah. Who knows how many times he actually did it, though?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So now here's the part that I want to talk about. He gets to the park, the place where they're having the Groundhog Day festival.
Gobbler's Knob.
Gobbler's Knob, with all the knob gobblers.
I always picture the woman from Day 2 who he walks out and he's like, where's everybody going? She's like, to Gobbler's Knob. It's Groundhog Day. I always imagine her saying, to gobble your knob.
On accident. Quote unquote, on accident. She likes tainted love. So he gets down there, he starts talking to Rita, and she goes,
Bill, over here! Where have you been?
It was horrible. A giant leech got me.
You're missing all the fun. These people are great. Some of them have been partying all night long. They sing songs till they get too cold, and then they go sit by the fire and they get warm, and then they come back and they sing some more.
Yeah, they're hicks, Rita.
and I'm like, I agree with you. That's what people in those towns do. And I'm like, I'm from one of those places, and it's like that.
He's not wrong. He's just a dick about it. That's all.
It's exactly like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's a charm to that.
I left. How do you think I feel about it?
Well, there's a charm if you're not obligated to do it. If it's something you're doing voluntarily, it's charming. If it's something that your family's like, God damn it, you're going to go and you're going to participate and you are going to sing or I'm going to beat the shit out of you.
Just
like that. Yeah, that makes it less charming.
My mom she ended up living in like a super small little town for several years. So we'd always go there during their weird little festivals. They had several every year all summer long. So we'd always be there. Oh my God. By the way, everybody, we're recording this on the day that Meatloaf and Louis Anderson both died.
We all walk into the new year thinking, oh, finally. Nope. It's just one relentless clusterfuck after another.
Our grandma's dead. Our dad's dead. Our uncle, who we respect because he does some cool stuff but has some shitty, stupid opinions, died. And that friend...
You know what he is? Meatloaf is that uncle who's into awesome shit, and then you get him talking, and he's like this paranoid weirdo. But he'll also smoke weed with you, and turns you on to awesome music.
That's exactly what
Meatloaf.
He is. Then I look at the fucking dude's name, Louis Anderson. He's the family friend that everybody kind of like wishes would go away, but not really. But he just kind of shows up, but he doesn't really bug everybody too much, so they're kind of okay with it.
He's got a thing that can be really cloying and irritating in excess, but every once in a while, like he's the guy who will just take you aside on your birthday and be like, hey, happy birthday, bud, and then give you a handshake with $50 in it.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. I used to watch his cartoon show back in the day.
I loved him on Baskets. I mean, I watched the cartoon as well, but where I fell in love with him was Baskets.
I don't know what the fuck Baskets is, but that's the second time I've heard it today.
You fucking need to watch Baskets. It's Zach Galifianakis plays a classically trained clown who, in order to survive, becomes a rodeo clown. And Louis Anderson plays his mother. And Louis Anderson is fucking brilliant in it. I believe he won an Emmy for it.
I'm sold.
He 100% deserved it. He is amazing in it.
He played a lawyer in that show Search Party, which is on HBO Max. If you have not seen it, it's like, I think there's like an edited down version on TBS or something, but you can watch
I don't want to watch that.
The uncensored version on HBO Max. It's a really good show. Has Maybe from
Arrested Development.
And
love her.
The
Alia, what's her name? Alia Shawkat or something.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a pretty interesting show. 5 seasons of it. We watched it all. There's a new season coming. It gets pretty fucking weird. Like,
I'll have to check that out when I get my HBO subscription.
The first season is one thing, and then the show just fucking throws you. It's weird and it's kind of awesome. It's one of those that nobody really knows about.
What's it called again?
Search Party.
Okay, I will have to keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, it's real good.
Okay, so
anyways,
now that we found out our uncle and fun neighbor are dead, let's get back to Groundhog Day.
Let's get back to the Hicks. They pull this groundhog out, and it is the cutest goddamn thing I've ever seen in my life, by the way. He is so fucking adorable.
It's pretty fucking cute.
I love it. Bill Murray
cuter
hates
than
it.
Pardon Me, Pete.
And he's just like, it's Groundhog Day. This is very exciting. Here's the Hicks doing what they do.
I love his closer. He's like,
This is one time where television really fails to capture the true excitement of a large squirrel predicting the weather. I, for one, am very grateful to have been here. From Punxsutawney, this is Phil Connors. So long.
Okay, we'll try it again without the sarcasm.
I barely know what happens next. Like, do they just? Oh, you know what? They're gonna go home.
They think they're
gonna try to go home, but apparently he's not that great of a fucking weatherman.
Nope, because they run right smack into that blizzard he was convinced was going to push off into Altoona.
And I really like the scene. It's really funny because he's so into getting home. He gets out of the van, walks up to the cop, and goes, "I need to go. I need to get through that fucking thing. Why are you not letting me go?" And the cop's like, "Okay, you can go that way and freeze to death, or you can drive back to Puxatawny and spend the night," or whatever he says. It was really
and then Bill Murray's like, "I'm thinking about it."
Yeah, I'm thinking about it, but he can't quite talk because he's freezing.
He's like trembling in the cold of the blizzard because he didn't even take his jacket with him. Yeah. Next scene, he's at a gas station on the phone with fucking AAA or somebody. I don't know who he's talking with, but suffice to say he's having a heated debate about not being able to get through to Pittsburgh because the phone lines are down. And he says,
Come on. All the long-distance lines are down. What about the satellite? Is it snowing in space? Don't you have some kind of a line that you keep open for emergencies or for celebrities? I'm both. I'm a celebrity in an emergency. Can you patch me through on that line, please?
Oh my god.
And then he gets clocked in the head with a snow shovel.
As well, he should.
Which, incidentally, may have been Harold Ramis trying to key in that this might all be entirely in his head.
I don't want it to be, though. I want him to be stuck in this fucking time loop. So, let's
the reality is, even if it did all take place in his head, effectively it's the same thing. I've told you about my son's dream, haven't I?
To be a Vegas showgirl?
No, not his aspiration.
Oh.
A literal dream he had
okay.
one night. One night, my oldest son, had a dream that he reports lasted for over 20 years. He said in it, he met and fell in love with a woman. He had children. They grew up. And he said when he woke up, like, it was genuinely disturbing because he felt he had lived an entire other life and then woken up. He said, like, he still has, like, these flashback moments where he will remember his old life. And he's like, it genuinely changed me as a person. So even if it only happened in his head, effectively, it still happened.
So should we cut to the first day of the time loop?
Okay, day one of 75,000.
This would be the weirdest.
365,000, excuse me.
Yeah, this would be the weirdest fucking thing, wouldn't it? You wake up, everything's the same, and you're just like, it's a joke, right? Oh yeah, he even says he gets up, he hears the song, he hears the same people talking, saying the same thing on the radio, and he's like, put in the wrong tape, guys.
Yeah,
you're playing the wrong
tape.
He looks out the window, and the cars are driving the exact same way. People are going the exact same direction.
And the snow is gone from the blizzard the previous night.
Oh, that's right. That's a pretty good indicator that something weird's going on, huh? That makes sense.
Yeah.
And everything goes basically exactly the same. He runs into that chubby dude on the stairs, and he's like, Groundhog, you're going to go do the Groundhog Day festival? He's like,
Morning! See the groundhog?
Yeah?
Think it'll be in early spring.
Didn't we do this yesterday?
I don't know what you mean.
Don't mess with me, pork chop. What day is this?
It's February 2nd. Groundhog Day.
Yeah. Sorry. You know, I thought it was yesterday.
Oh.
and then he does the same thing. He goes downstairs. He talks to the lady. He has some coffee, and then she's like, "Are you checking out today?" And he's like, "There's an 80% chance."
Chance of departure 80%? 75, 80? He's very unsure of himself at this point.
Wouldn't you be? This would fuck me up so bad. Well, obviously that's the point, right?
Yeah.
And he does the same thing. Goes down to the park, and he's like, "Guys, do you feel deja vu or whatever? Did you feel like we did this already?" And then the camera pops on, and he's like, "It's Groundhog Day again."
It's delightful seeing him so uncertain of himself because he's been such a cocky bastard up to this point.
Bill Murray's really good. I don't watch enough Bill Murray movies.
Like like the way he does that 3, 2, 1 in the first day. Where he's 3, 2, and then the 1 is him flipping the cameraman off. Like, he's so cocky, and this is the first time he's really suddenly unsure of himself.
Poor Chris Elliott.
And it's good because this guy needs to get taken down a peg. He is way too up his own ass. Oh, that's right. He meets Ned Ryerson on the
Ned Ryerson, yeah, don't want to forget that part. And he steps in the fucking puddle again.
And again with the uncertainty, because this is great because it's the first time he's uncertain, and he's like, "Now don't tell me you don't remember me, because I sure as heck fire remember you." He's like, Ned Ryerson. Bing! Oh, right out the gate.
God, that guy's annoying. I'll always remember him for his turn as the restaurant owner in Wild Hogs.
He was in Wild Hogs?
Yeah.
Huh. That movie was incredibly unmemorable to me, so.
I went on a weird, very, very awkward date to Wild Hogs. So
if she laughs too hard, it's at Wild Hogs. You just need to end it right there.
It was really random. We were hanging out, and she's like, "You want to go see a movie?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And the only movie playing at that time that we were there was Wild Hogs.
Wait, is this back in Montana?
Yeah.
So you only have like the one.
Oh no, we
theater.
had a fucking big
okay.
theater.
All right.
It just happened to be we just got there, and I think that was the only movie that we're like, "Yeah, let's go see that one." I guess.
I can't see anything making me want to watch Wild Hogs. I watched it with my ex-wife because she wanted to watch it, and by the time I found out what shitty taste she had in movies, we were already married. So,
and I didn't really have movie taste yet. I didn't know. I thought the movie was funny.
Oh yeah, that's true. You're a lot younger than me.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting. You're like 10 years younger than me, and I think Wild Hogs came out when I was like 30, so you'd have been like 20 or something.
18-ish. I was, well, no. Yeah, 2019, somewhere in there. Either way, I was fresh out of a really long relationship, my high school relationship, so I'd never had another girlfriend at this point.
Oh, so this was your first foray into the world of adult dating.
Yeah, it was weird. And then it just got weirder. Like, I liked her. She was really cool. Met her family. Fucking nuts.
Well,
nuts. Crazy. Fucking weird.
Montana.
I don't know what religion they were. They were something.
But it was one of the weird ones,
and
huh?
It was one of those. This is a sidetrack, but I got to talk about it because now we're on the subject. So we're playing pool at this bar, and she's 18, 19 years old also.
Uh-huh.
Her dad shows up and doesn't say a fucking word, just glares at her at this bar, and I'm like, "Hi." I went up and shook his hand. I'm like, "Hey, nice to meet you." Then he barely said anything.
Okay.
And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I can't remember the exchange really, but she's like, "Yeah, I'll be home soon, whatever." So then he leaves, and I'm like, "That was fucking weird." And then I'm like, "Oh, so we're done with the date?" And she's like, "Yeah, well, I'd like to see you again. It'd be fun." And I'm like, "Cool, let's go to see like Ninja Turtles or something," because that was when the TMNT, the animated one, came out. And she's like, "Okay, but my mom says we have to have a chaperone." But it wasn't an adult chaperone; it was her friend. But before that, this is the last time I hung out with her, by the way. I went to her I went to her house for dinner, and her dad was nice to me this time because he met me before, so he was cool. He was cool that time. Her mom was out of her fucking mind. She cooked and stuff, and then it's one of those families where the men get to tell the women to do stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I noticed that a bunch. It was real weird.
Yeah, sounds culty.
But her brother could like play video games and do all sorts of shit, and I ended up working.
Yeah, because he's a guy.
I ended up working near him at a job. Like a little while later, he didn't recognize.
Yeah,
me, though.
that definitely doesn't sound like second date material.
No, it was weird. It was weird. I didn't like it. Anyways, time loops.
Wait, where are we? We're in day 2.
We're in day 2, and day 2 is just him really running around going like, "The fuck." That's weird.
Wait. We didn't finish day 1. By day 1, I mean like the first repeat.
Right.
It cuts back, and he does take the shower again, and again, it's fucking freezing cold because it was freezing cold the first time he tried to take a shower.
Oh yeah, that's right. He tried to take a shower, and it's cold.
Mom, isn't there any hot water?
Oh, no, there wouldn't be today.
Of course not. That's silly of me.
Sweet dreams.
And then it shows him in bed, and he has that idea to break the pencil.
Oh yeah, he breaks the pencil to see if anything fucking weird's happening because he thinks it's all a joke.
Yeah, he breaks the pencil in half, sets it on top of his alarm clock, and then goes to bed. And then, well, put your little hand in mine. There ain't no hill or mountain we can't climb, babe.
And this is day 3, right?
Yep.
So everything's the same.
Well, technically, it's day 2 of the repeats.
Day 2, okay. God damn it.
But do you want to start with day 1 as being the original day? It doesn't really matter.
I don't know. You guys know what the fuck
after
we're
the
talking
5th
about.
time, there's no keeping track. He meets Rita in the park. He just kind of runs from Ned the second day. Like, he just runs, and then he splashes through the puddle, and Ned's like, "Hey!" Like, where are you going? No, he goes to the park, and he meets Rita, and what's the cameraman's name? Gary? Is it Gary? Chris Elliott's character?
Larry.
He meets Rita and Larry in the park. I've watched this movie 30 goddamn times. You would think I would remember one of the main characters' names. He meets them in the park, and she's like, "Come on, we've got a show to do." And he's like, "No, we don't. I've already done it twice. I'll meet you in the diner." After you guys are done. And then the next shot is them in the diner. And then we get a series of diner scenes.
This is where he's already losing it, and he's like, he tells her, like, I think there's something going on, and she's like, you need to see a doctor. This is where I'm also on the Wikipedia page because I don't have my own notes. So it's kind of helping me now. She tells him to go see a doctor, and he fucking does.
Yeah, he goes to Harold Ramis.
Yeah, Harold Ramis, and I don't know how the fuck he got in there so fast. Maybe he's a celebrity.
Again,
it is a
this
small
was
town,
1990.
yeah.
You can still get in to see a doctor.
It was 1993, and yes,
in small town America,
but yeah,
where you could still get in to see a doctor.
And then he's like, hey, he takes all the x-rays of his brain, and he's like, you're fine. I think it's all in your head. And then he sends him to Wes Anderson. Wes Anderson, Adrian Brody.
But yeah, it looks like a cross between Wes Anderson and Adrian Brody.
It's not. I don't know who the fuck this guy is, but that's exactly who I thought. I'm like, is that Adrian Brody? No, he'd be too young to look like that already.
It's the weeniest therapist. Like it's a caricature of the therapist that you would derive from Woody Allen's depiction of what a therapist is.
I'm just gonna come out and say it. Fuck Woody Allen and his creepy nonsense.
Okay, I'm right there with you. Woody Allen is a creep, and fuck all that creepiness. But that's not what this is. This is just a really tragically unsure of himself therapist.
Must be his first time, or he's just sad.
It's certainly his first time meeting anybody who's got a problem like Phil Connors has.
Well, you know what? It's time for him to like start giving up already. He gives up quick. It's only the second time he's done this, and so he gets drunk with the guys, the locals, Gus and Ralph.
Yes, who we first met at the diner.
At the diner, yes,
where Gus turns around and says, Phil, like the groundhog?
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, like the groundhog. Ha, watch out for your shadow there, buddy.
That'd be annoying. I hate that already. That's like my whole life growing up.
I'm trying to imagine drinking with that guy, and I'm just like, no, I'm immediately out.
So I've said it before on the podcast. My last name is Miller. Growing up, every 5 seconds, be like, it's Miller time. Yeah, it's Miller time. Yeah, it's like that. It's annoying, and I hate it. Imagine me with my last name and everybody's like, it's Miller time, it's Miller time. No wonder I don't fucking drink.
Anyway, he's out with Gus and what was the other guy's name again?
Ralph.
Gus and Ralph. Oh, of course his name is Ralph because his big moment is announcing how he's going to puke.
So he goes out with them, he gets drunk, and they eventually get into a car, right?
They get into Ralph's car. Actually.
And Bill Murray's driving.
No, they have that great moment though before that where Bill Murray's like,
what would you do if you were stuck in one place and every day was exactly the same and nothing that you did mattered?
No, that sums it up for me.
That is small town life. Some of these people, they're just there.
Yep.
They just exist in their own little bubble.
Small town. That's fucking life, man. That's 90% of the world.
That's depressing. You know, it's been like that for the past couple of years, honestly, but at least we're doing this. We get to experience new worlds every day. Because we watch a lot of fucking movies.
That's true. Movie watching has certainly become more important to me over the last couple of years.
Since he decides that there aren't really any consequences here, he does take the police on a high-speed chase.
Oh, well, he has a conversation with Gus and Ralph once they're in the car.
Oh, yeah.
Let me ask you guys a question.
Shoot.
What if there were no tomorrow?
No tomorrow. That would mean there would be no consequences. There would be no hangovers. We could do whatever we wanted.
That's true. We could do whatever we want.
And Phil is the most sober, so he's driving because they're being responsible.
He's the most sober, which means he's had 4 drinks instead of 7.
Yeah. The other guys are like falling down drunk, and Phil is just like introspective drunk. We enter the phase of the story that the Save the Cat writing system refers to as playing with your powers.
Yes.
Which is where Phil realizes he can do literally anything he wants, and suddenly he starts to have a lot of fun with it.
Which brings us to the big point that I was trying to make. The movie no longer matters because I am not a good person, I'm realizing.
Because if you were in that situation, you would do all the same scuzzy shit that he's doing.
I live in the real world. It's way worse. Like, how many times? Okay, so
you don't live in a PG-13 edited reality.
No, apparently the writer, his thought behind this was, you know, what would happen if somebody was immortal? Could they actually end up changing and becoming a different person? And how long would that take? And I'm like, dude, I lack ambition just in general. So if I would start to go crazy, like a lot, I would do some horrible, awful things.
It's certainly possible. I don't think I would do horrible, awful things because I don't know what kind of video gamer you are. I play a lot of open world video games. Not a ton, but I play a fair amount of them. I'm always kind in them. I can't bring myself to be really malicious. Some people will do, like, for example, a perfect example is the megaton level of Fallout 3, where you can get a lot of money and power and stuff if you detonate the bomb in megaton and kill everybody there. I can't bring myself to do that, even though I fully recognize it's a fictional universe where nothing, like, it's not real. It's a fictional universe. These characters, they're not really going to die. They're just ones and zeros, and they're going to continue existing no matter what I do in the world of the game. Like, you know, they're just going to be back on the next playthrough. Like, it's not going to actually affect them, and I can't bring myself to do anything that bad. Like, whenever I walk into those games, I have a moral code that I live by in those games. It doesn't mean I won't kill somebody, but it does mean that I won't kill somebody without a reason.
One time I was playing, I think it might have been Red Dead Redemption, the first one. I was playing it on the TV, you know, and the girls were watching me, and they're like, "Oh, the horse, does the horse die?" I'm like, "No, of course not. I won't let the horse die." And then they were just there, and I'm like, "Hey, Lydia, look." And then I aimed the revolver at the horse's head, and I killed him. And
That's pretty fucking hardcore, dude. How old were they?
She got really mad at me.
Yeah, I'll bet.
I don't remember how old they were.
Suffice to say, it was Red Dead Redemption 1. They couldn't have been older than, what, 5?
Oh, when I'm playing Grand Theft Auto, all bets are off. I don't even give a shit. I get bored playing the actual game, so I just spend time fucking murdering people.
I'll do all the immoral stuff as far as, like, I'll do the robberies and I'll kill anybody who gets in my way and stuff, but I won't go out of my way to be an asshole in those games. Like, for example, Grand Theft Auto 5, the torture level legitimately bothered me. Like, it really did. The torture, you know the one I'm talking about. Yeah, like, that really bothered me. And I know it's fake. And I'm the kind of guy, like, I will watch a movie like a Serbian film, and although it bothers me, it won't bother me enough not to watch it. And still, that fucked with me. I mean, I think that was the point. It was supposed to fuck with you.
Did you hear the Dimitri Martin joke about how he wants to make a video game where you take care of all the people who are killed and hurt in video games? It's called Super Busy Hospital. But yeah, no, I'm like, how many women did he, like, rape? You know, Phil.
Oh, Phil. 100%. It's just, this is a PG-13 movie, so they couldn't show that shit.
And I have like a crazy addictive personality. I will 100% say that. So if I start doing stuff, I won't stop. I would have to see that therapist like every day.
That's pretty fucked up. I don't know. I feel like unless you're a complete sociopath on a long enough timeline, I feel like you would have to get better as a person. Like, I have to believe that. I guess maybe it is just optimism. You know, maybe it is just completely unfounded. Maybe I'm 100% wrong, and it's just my desire to believe the best about people. But the fact that we have evolved into more conscientious, kinder people over time, like, and we have. Like, you got to realize, like, for the majority of history, not only did nobody give a shit about rape, evolution rewarded it. And we've actually evolved to a point where we're like, you know, actually, maybe rape is a bad idea because it doesn't consider everybody out there. You know, it doesn't consider the other person's feelings. So maybe we need to rethink this whole rape thing.
Like, there's definitely stuff that I can see myself never doing. Like, I wouldn't hurt an animal, like a real animal. The horse doesn't count. It was a video game. Or a kid. Like, I can't do that. I can't picture myself doing that. But adults, fuck them. They all suck anyways. But I wanna be a good person, but I don't think I am.
I don't know. I think people. I think humanity in general, and this is part of my personal worldview. I think self-hatred is the defining characteristic of humanity, and I think we don't give ourselves enough credit. There are some genuinely psychopathic people who just don't have a conscience, but I think they're in an extreme minority. I think they represent a tiny, tiny sliver of the population of the earth, and I think most people, given the opportunity, will tend towards good.
I appreciate your optimism, and maybe I think I might get bored doing all the horrible shit eventually and just be like, you know what? What's it going to be like if I'm, like, nice to these people?
Yeah, I'm not saying that tendency towards good precludes evil. you know, just that I believe that in a situation like this, I do think that most people, if they were put in a situation like that, would eventually grow as people rather than regress.
It's kind of like The Good Place.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it spoiler alerts for The Good Place. Skip the podcast a minute or two if you don't want The Good Place spoiled for you. It's basically how The Good Place ends. You know, like that's what ends up happening to people is they go through these thousands of years of reliving their lives and evolving until they evolve to the point where they can go to the good place.
I'm wondering, like, they did that with Hitler and stuff too, I imagine.
I think probably. I mean, I'm not saying, as I said, you know, I mean, there is a tiny portion of the population that is just irrevocably evil, or at least capable of irrevocable evil. But I don't think, I mean, honestly, who knows? Maybe even those people would be redeemable on a long enough timeline. But even if they aren't, they represent a very, very small fraction of humanity.
If it takes them too long, you get sent to hell and you have a pineapple shoved up your ass for eternity.
Maybe. I don't fucking know. I'm not claiming to know. This is just my personal beliefs, and I will admit I could be 100% wrong about it.
I know because little Nicky told me.
Oh, little Nicky.
Okay. All right.
Adam Sandler's best movie by far.
So
I hope the audience can hear the sarcasm.
Oh, I was gonna say, you mean that?
No, I fucking hate Little Nicky.
What's your favorite Adam Sandler movie? Since we're on the subject,
my favorite Adam Sandler movie is probably The Wedding Singer.
Okay,
followed by Happy Gilmore.
I was gonna say that is not a wrong answer. I think that's close to it. Yeah.
Billy Madison is probably my third, but I'm not going to try and defend it as a good movie.
I really like the first half of Funny People.
Yeah, I never felt a desire to go back and rewatch any of Funny People. After I got done with it, again, only watched it because no, Funny People I did watch intentionally. That's right, because the stand-up angle got me because I wanted to be a stand-up at the time.
That was the good part. When he figures out he's not actually sick, and then it turns into a love story. I'm like, good.
I thought you were talking, for some reason, I thought you said Grown Ups.
Oh fuck!
And I
no.
was like, first half of
oh my god,
that was that good.
No,
Grown Ups was pretty bad.
Ooh,
but yeah, Funny People. I agree with you. The first half of Funny People was good, and then the second half it was like, oh, fuck off.
It's like, this is an hour too long. Let's stop this. Yeah. Eric Bana, you're cool. Everybody else can go away.
Yeah, everybody just was like, just fuck all of you.
That's when I learned I liked Eric Bana, though.
Yeah, no, yeah. I knew I liked Eric Bana in Munich.
And I never saw Munich. Some of that stuff is too serious, man.
I mean, Munich's heavy, but it's one of Spielberg's best movies.
I used to be that pretentious kid who's like, I'm going to go rent Two Lovers from the video store. And
are we going to share your Two Lovers story again?
Oh, yeah. Oh, the one where the girl looked at me and she was like in love with me, and then I tried to rent similar movies again and she didn't give a shit. Yeah.
Exactly. How many times have we shared that on the podcast? I'm going to say at least 3.
I don't know. I only remember it from the Joaquin Phoenix documentary episode we did.
No, we definitely did on that one, but that was not the first mention.
I don't fucking know, man. Hey guys, remember that time I fucking told you about the time I went to Hastings and rented Two Lovers and Groundhog Day, get it? You know what?
Oh, because we're repeating ourselves. Oh,
yeah, that's kind of apropos, right? I'm good.
Actually,
I got this.
Yes, that was a good tie-in. I didn't catch it at first. But yes, you brought it around.
Guess who accidentally did that? Me. So this is the portion of the movie, like I said, where he realizes, he decides there's no consequences, so he like learns stuff about women to dupe them into fucking him, and it works. And it doesn't. It seems kind of fancy, free, and fun. It's really creepy. Don't fucking do that. Don't be weird. I mean, you can learn things about people, you know, learn them and be genuine about it. Don't learn things to.
We want to make it very clear that we're not on the side of duping people into fucking you and just toying with their emotions. Here's a horror show idea for you. All the universes that he lived, all the days he lived through spawned their own universe.
Okay, I was gonna bring that up too. Is this the kind of thing where it spawns all these different universes, like all the times that he killed himself, and people witnessed that? They just have to go through their entire lives seeing a man fucking crash a car and explode.
Well, now there is an indication that that's a possibility, because on one of the days after he throws himself off the clock tower, they show him in the morgue.
Yes.
and Rita and Larry are there identifying the body, which implies that his death was not enough to restart the timeline, which implies that maybe the timelines continue every single day, but it's a different timeline. Or there's the possibility that the timeline only continues if he dies that day. Because, I mean, if he only has one consciousness, then obviously it can't go on the timelines that... It can't go on any of the other timelines but the last one. But that doesn't mean that, like, some parallel version of him could be continuing on, or the timelines may only split when he dies. Or it is possible that that the trigger happens at 6 a.m. Because we established that it doesn't happen at midnight, but that doesn't mean it doesn't happen at 6 a.m. because he never stays awake until 6 a.m.
Yeah, we don't know when it actually resets. He just kind of wakes up at 6.
And he doesn't either. He says that in the day when he finally takes Rita all the way to midnight. And they actually end up going until about 3 a.m. But he never makes it all the way to 6. At least not that they show us. So it's possible that those universes only continue until whatever time it is that the time resets, but they do continue after he dies.
That's definitely that makes this movie a lot darker, I think. And actually, it gets kind of fucked up because he sits her down at one time. They're at the diner after he's gone through and killed himself a bunch. He's like,
I'm a god.
You're God.
I'm a god. I'm not the god. I don't think.
Because you survived a car wreck?
You folks ready to order?
I didn't just survive a wreck. I wasn't just blown up yesterday. I have been stabbed, shot, poisoned, frozen, hung, electrocuted, and burned.
Oh, really?
And every morning I wake up without a scratch on me, not a dent in the fender. I am an immortal.
oh, there's one time when he gets run over by a truck, and was he trying to be a groundhog? Because he walks into the middle of the street, and then he does this thing with his hands in his mouth.
I don't know. Maybe he was impersonating the groundhog, but suffice to say, yeah, he steps in front of like a semi.
Yeah, this is the sad part of the movie. Like this
is the low. This is where the power, the playing with the powers phase has ended, and now we're at the dip. I can't remember what this portion of the story is called in the Save the Cat.
Oh my God, first time
writing format. But suffice to say, this is the point where the Green Goblin shows up in Spider-Man.
Yeah. So I just whiz past it on the Wikipedia page. The first time he kills himself that we see, he kidnaps the fucking poor groundhog, and that's when he drives the truck off the cliff, and it explodes. And Chris Elliott's there, and he's like, the car goes off and it lands, and
the shot is beautiful because this truck is a beautiful, it kind of broke my heart watching it because it's a really beautiful old 70s or maybe early 80s pickup truck that I would just love to have because it's in brilliant condition. Like it really is in great condition. And he drives it off this cliff, and it shows the truck going. They clearly had like 5 cameras set up for this shot.
Yes.
It shows it going over the cliff, and then it lands top down, and when it hits the ground you can just see it goes from pristine shape to just crumples. Like the truck fucking shatters. And then Chris Elliott's looking down with the camera. He's like, he could be okay. And then the truck explodes. Well, maybe not.
And I felt bad. You don't kill a cute... That animal's so cute. That made me sad.
He did kill the groundhog. But he ramped up to it. He's got that whole monologue where he's like...
Once again, the eyes of the nation have turned here to this tiny village in western Pennsylvania. Blah, 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 blah. There is no way that this winter is ever going to end. As long as this groundhog keeps seeing his shadow, I don't see any other way out. He's got to be stopped. And I have to stop him.
Real good, Phil. Real good.
He's out of his gourd.
And then after we get done watching him fucking kill himself a bunch of times, that's when he finally like really confides in Rita, and for some reason she decides to believe him.
Well, because he takes her through that entire diner.
Oh yeah, he goes through the diner.
Introduces her to everybody and cold reads everyone in the room their life story. And then she's like, "What about me, Phil? Do you know about me?" He's like, "I know everything about you. Oh, and at this point, he's already had his day in the sun with Rita and then driven that shit into the ground.
Okay.
Like, he went through an entire seduction process that is kind of... It's kind of funny because it literally cuts every time he fucks up. He'll fuck something up and then it'll be like, all right, cut back to 1, and then he'll do it again.
And that is that the slapping montage?
Yes, it ends with her slapping him like 15 times.
Because the like one of the first times it starts to go really well, and he gets to that point, and she's like, they're in his bed and breakfast room, and they get it's not the first day, but it's
but they have this whole ramp up of him fuck up reset until he gets her into the bedroom, and then it's been going really, really well. Or no, it's until he gets her into the park where he's carving an ice sculpture with her face, an ice sculpture of her face with her face, like he's ramming her face into the ice.
That's a better movie. That's my favorite movie. That's Groundhog Day Part 6 from Boy Meets World.
Groundhog Day 666.
Groundhog Day Part 6. I'm blowing up your head.
So,
it's Stumpy's Revenge. Sorry.
All right, college girl in the shower. Kiss your head goodbye.
No, Stumpy, Why did Stumpy just blow up her head?
Well, that's a tough one, Cor. Stumpy's a pretty complex guy.
Anyway, he's got her in the park, and he's making an ice sculpture of her face, which is very beautiful, just like Andy McDowell's face is very beautiful. And he's really nailing it. Like he's saying all the right things, and we get the impression this is the first time he's gotten this far. And it's like for the first time he's sort of expressing himself genuinely to her. Like, it's all been very fake and calculated, but then he has this moment where he carves her face out of ice, and they connect. And then he gets her back to his apartment, but then he keeps pushing, and he keeps pushing because he doesn't want her to leave, because he doesn't have tomorrow. And she's like, we can always get together tomorrow. He's like, no, it's got to be tonight. And then she's like, whoa, dial it back,
which
dude.
Sounds super rapey and weird.
Yeah. She's like,
he's getting sincere. She's getting freaked out.
Yeah, but then he starts getting less sincere because he's really pushing. Then he pushes too far, and she's like, you're a fucking asshole, dude. And she ends it by smacking him.
There's that one part too, right before it gets into the slapping montage, I think, where everything kind of goes similarly, and they're in the park, and then the kids come as he's like building the snowman.
Yeah.
and
he is like manic. Now he's manic.
Yeah. they finally, the previous day or whatever, they landed in the snow after the snowball fight, and they did they kiss? They kissed.
Yeah, they had a moment.
Yeah, they had a nice little moment. And he was trying to recreate that, but he couldn't. And he kept on trying to lean in, and she's like, the fuck, dude.
And then it cuts to her smacking him. And
it was
then
good.
Smack, and then smack, and then it's like her smacking him at 11 different points throughout this version of the night.
It had to have happened more than that too, and it's
for sure.
At different points too. Like, he gets further and further, and then slap, and then he gets nowhere, and then fucking
Yep. It's like it's all over the place, and then it ends with just one final smack, and this is outside the door of her building. So obviously he's like last ditch trying to get her to go back to his place. She's just seeing right through his bullshit and smacks him. And then he's reached the dark phase.
And then I like that one too, because she slaps him, and then just no words, he just opens the door for her, and she walks in. And then but then the dark phase. And
then we cut to the diner where he's explaining, I'm a god.
But yeah, she ends up buying it because I think she can tell that he's sincere, because she's an empath. God damn it!
And also, he has the proof. He tells her about everybody, and then tells her about herself, and then he says, "Listen, Larry's about to come and take you away from me, but you can't let him." He's like, "You got to stay with me," and blah blah blah. And then as he's saying this, he's writing a note out, and then he passes the note over to her, and then here comes Larry.
Oh yeah.
And he says, "Hey, we got to get going if we're going to stay ahead of the storm, or if we're going to stay ahead of the weather." And then she looks down at the note, and it says, "We got to get going if we're going to stay ahead of the weather."
Let's talk about all the stuff that he learned to do, because at some point she says you should think of this as a blessing and not a curse.
Well, actually, I think that's part of what she says this night.
He decides to stop being a dick and start improving himself.
And the next day he wakes up and he's like, you know what? I'm going to do what she said. I mean, he wakes up hard. Because they fall asleep together. He's reading her poetry, and she's going in and out, and he sort of has this moment where he confesses his feelings towards her. And it's the first moment where he's really, really genuine.
Oh, and this is where he had learned French prior to it, because she's into French poetry.
He basically says, I love you, and like I'd do anything for you, but she's asleep. so she doesn't hear him say it. And then she's kind of like, what was that? And he's like, nothing, go back to sleep. And then he wakes up the next morning and it's gray and it's cold and he's alone. But he gets up and he's like, you know what? Today I'm going to start. And the next scene is him in the cafe with a bunch of books and he's reading and he's kind of like looking a little satisfied with himself, And then slowly he goes to this woman's house where you can hear the piano being played badly from inside, and he's like, hey, yeah, I heard you could teach me how to play piano. I really want to learn. She's like, well, I've got a student, but maybe you'd come back tomorrow. He's like, well, I really want to get started right now. I can give you
$1,000. Get the fuck out of here, kid.
And she fucking chucks this 9-year-old out onto the sidewalk.
The Wikipedia entry says at the first part of this, during one iteration of the loop, Phil reports on the Groundhog Day festivities with such eloquence that other news crews stop working to listen to his speech. Amazing Rita.
That is the final day.
Yes, that was just cute. Over the course of this time, he learns how to play piano really fucking awesome, but there's like a theory that he only learns how to play like a couple songs really well, which makes sense, I guess.
Well, no, because he's playing improvisational white jazz in the final thing. So he clearly is a better player than just learning a couple of songs.
And then the teacher lady, she's like, that's my student.
Yeah, his first day.
Because he's been going to you every day for the past 10 fucking years.
100 maybe, who knows?
He could be the greatest piano player in the world right now.
It's entirely possible.
He ends up saving people from like stuff. My favorite one of these, he's done it several times before because of the context, but he runs up. Rita does. Is this the one where Rita's like, hey, we should do a thing, and then he's like, no, I got somewhere to be. I'll be right.
He says, I got some errands to run.
Yeah, errands to run.
She's like, errands? What errands?
But
aren't we going back?
My favorite part is he runs and saves this kid from the tree. the kid falls out of a tree, and he saves him from falling on the ground. And he's like,
what do you say? What do you say? What do you say? You little brat? You have never thanked me. I'll see you tomorrow. Maybe.
He saves the mayor guy from choking. He does the Heimlich maneuver. He's adjusting people's backs. He's finding WrestleMania tickets in less than a day.
Which he gives to Michael Shannon and his fiance.
Yeah. How the fuck did he find those?
Well, he, admittedly, he was a celebrity in a minor Pittsburgh celebrity in the early 90s. So if he got on the phone early enough in the day, like first thing, it's entirely possible. It's not likely, but it's possible.
That was WrestleMania 9. Oh my God, that is the most 90s fucking picture I've ever seen in my life.
You have to know who's in WrestleMania in 1993. Oh my God.
So on this picture, everybody, we have Ted DiBiase, IRS, Brutus the Barber Beefcake, Jimmy Hart, Hulk Hogan, Bret Hart, and Yokozuna. That's just the cover. That's the thing. I don't know what the fuck matches were happening.
Bret the Barber Beefcake.
Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Brutus the Barber Beefcake. I haven't heard that since the 1980s.
That's Hulk Hogan's boyfriend, and they may or may not have fucked each other on a sex tape. Allegedly. I did say may or may not, so I guess that kind of covers the allegedly, but, Hulk Hogan likes to sue people.
We're not making any claims. We're just saying that a claim was made.
But he's also racist. Thanks, Hulk Hogan, for being my childhood hero and fucking it up.
Nobody's safe. No 80s icon is safe.
That's the fucking WrestleMania where Bret Hart wrestled Yokozuna and beat him. Or no. That's the one, I think. Yokozuna.
Refresh my memory. Yokozuna was a legit sumo.
He was not. He was just a fat guy.
Okay, so he wasn't
Japanese.
As sumo.
He was The Rock's cousin.
So he was impersonating a sumo.
Oh, yeah.
So he's Samoan?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Thanks, the 80s racism.
So, that's right. The main event was Yokozuna and Bret Hart. Bret Hart was the WWF champion at the time, and they had Yokozuna win, and then 3 seconds after he won, they had Hulk Hogan come out and challenge him and win the belt from Yokozuna. Because Vince McMahon had the hugest fucking boner for Hulk Hogan. He headlined the first 9 WrestleManias.
Well, this is 93, so this was when Hogan was like top of the top, right?
He was on his way out of WWE at the time, so it's kind of weird.
WWF at the time.
WWF, sorry. Oh, man.
At the time.
Fuck the World Wildlife Foundation. Actually, don't.
What good have they ever done for the world?
I appreciate them. And Vince McMahon is a terrible fucking person, so fuck their stupid name. But yeah, WrestleMania tickets in the middle of fucking February in some podunk town in Philadelphia.
Yup.
How? You said it. He's a celebrity.
I agree. It's implausible. I'm just saying it's not impossible. Did it even take place in Philadelphia that year?
Oh, fuck. No.
Because they did say we were going to be in Philadelphia anyway.
Then fucking Las Vegas.
God damn it. This movie is completely unreliable.
WrestleMania 15 in 1999 was in Philadelphia.
Okay, enough WrestleMania. Okay.
Hang on. The tagline for WrestleMania 15, the Ragin' Climax. I just thought I'd throw that one out there. I don't know what it means. I don't know what that's in reference to. Back to Groundhog Day.
That's the tagline to a porno is what that is.
Vince McMahon was super edgy. That was peak Attitude Era right there. The fucking
99.
Anyways, so again, he's spending all these loops, saving people from shit, doing nice things for people. Then he fucking, what does he do? Okay, how about the bar where he's playing piano like a fucking boss?
Yeah, that's the Groundhog. He's up on stage playing all white jazz.
I don't know what that means. What is all white jazz?
Everyone on stage was white.
Okay.
And they're playing like white guy jazz. Or, well, white guy blues and jazz, you know.
I wish I could play the piano half that well. Jesus.
Oh, yeah, no, so do I.
You know what might help is if I actually played a fucking piano every once in a while.
I wish I could play the piano at all.
I know where middle C is, and I know what a chord looks like.
I can find a C.
I can find the middle one. I resemble a musician in some ways.
I can play chords on a guitar. That's about all I'm good for. Oh, no, I can play chords on a guitar, I can play really simple bass lines, and I can play terrible arrhythmic drums.
Yeah, I'm not great at drums either.
Like, I can do like 5 beats on a drum.
I can do 4 on the floor, which is just the basic drum beat. It gets really cute. They're doing like a weird charity auction. It's basically it's a meat
bachelor auction.
It's a meat market, and I'd be all up in it. Be like, hey ladies, I'll strip for you. Woo!
I feel like I could get at least $250.
So Phil goes up there, and what do they start the bidding out at? Oh, some lady just says like $5.
Yeah.
Or something.
I think it was Doris from the diner.
It is. It's a bunch of old ladies. $5, $10, and it's who's the
$15, $25.
Who's the auctioneer?
Brian Doyle Murray is the auctioneer.
Dickskin.
Oh, Jim Dickens.
Dickens. That's what I said. Dickskin.
I just watched the episode about Jim Dickens' hog.
Him and Gail?
Yeah. Where everybody's talking about the size of Jim Dickens' man meat.
It's the same standing up as he is laying down. He's one of the best characters in that show, and he doesn't do anything. He just kind of shows up and says words and then leaves.
Yeah.
Just because it's really funny to hear McMurray say, that's what I said, Dickskin.
As I said, Dickskin.
So at the auction, Phil gets bought by Rita because she has finally seen something in him that she likes.
So she bids high.
And it's for charity.
She bids her entire checking account because she's got her checkbook out and bids to the penny.
I like, yeah, you see her in the background just kind of opening up her wallet going like, I bid this much, this many dollars and this much cents. Yeah, it was cute.
It was like $347.82.
We've really barely talked about Andy McDowell here.
That's true. We have. Well, I mean, honestly, this isn't her story.
It's not.
She's the same person from start to finish because she literally only lives a single day.
That is true. Well, here's another funny thing in this scene. Right after Phil gets bought, Larry, Chris Elliott, walks up there and just stands there like a fucking idiot.
He poses like Arnold in a bodybuilding competition, you know.
And nobody wants him.
They even have the drummer come in and do like a boom, 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 as he turns around and displays himself like a rotisserie chicken.
Poor guy. He gets bought for like
25 cents.
Phil can also carve ice sculptures.
Well, that was way earlier, though. That was before he even did the thing with Rita.
Nope, that. According to this, it's after the auction. Phil carves an ice sculpture in Rita's image and tells her that no matter what happens, even if he is doomed to continue walking each day, alone each morning forever, he wants her to know that he's finally happy because he loves her.
You know what? I transposed that into the scene with them building the snowman.
Yeah. Oh,
earlier.
Yeah.
I was saying he carved the ice sculpture of her, but no, he was building a snowman with her. That was what he was doing.
When the kids
and he didn't get genuine. That's right. He was still. Yet. I mean,
he was getting there.
He was on his way to genuine because they did have a real moment there after the snowball fight.
Because the reason he kept failing is because she's like I said, she's kind of an empath. She can see through his bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. No, but that's right. So yeah, during the self-improvement phase, he learns ice sculpture, and then he has the thing where he carves her face in ice, and like I said, she's a very beautiful woman, and he carves this beautiful sculpture of her, and then he has this really genuine moment with her. And I gave him credit for that so much earlier. This completely undercuts all my credibility as a fan of this movie.
Ice sculptures are cool, dude.
Ice sculptures are kind of
sculpting in general is kind of cool. Like if you have like a painting, like a canvas, I'm like, oh, that's I can't do that either, but it makes more sense.
I don't love all of it, but I do respect the ability to be able to evoke something out of nothing.
Like literally nothing, right?
Yeah. Like
it's
just a block
big,
of ice.
A big slab of shit, and and you make something cool out of it.
So even if I don't like what you're carving, which 99% of ice sculptures or any sculptures really, I don't really have much interest in, but I do respect the ability that it takes to, even to create something simple out of that.
Yeah, I'm not artistic in that way at all.
Yeah, me neither.
I can't draw, I can't write either, but I think that's just lack of practice.
I used to be able to draw when I was a kid. Like I was advanced for my age when I was young, but I never developed it because I didn't really understand that whole concept of you have to start out bad in order to get good. I never got that.
You mean I don't just get to be fucking awesome right away?
Whereas with writing, I was able to go through the writing garbage in order to actually start writing something good. So I feel like I'm a good writer now. I'm not a very good writer or a great writer by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm a good writer. Like I'm a 3 out of 5.
I'm an unambitious writer because it's hard to just sit the fuck down.
Well, I've lost all my ambition towards writing, but I'm okay at it.
I think about it all the time too. The 2 things that occupy my fucking brain, well, 3 things. The podcast, which is number 1 because I like doing this and it's really fun, and I wish you people would give me some more fucking money so I can do this full time. Being in a band, which will never fucking happen because I've lost. In my head, I'm like, that sounds like a great idea, but in practical application, I'm like, that takes a lot of time. You have to deal with assholes. I don't want to.
You have to be willing to grind if you're in a band. Like that is a grind.
It is. And then I'm like, also, writing. I should sit down and fucking write something because I really want to, but it's also really hard to sit down without any distractions and just do stuff.
All the distractions are available and you've got to choose writing.
So Phil's finally happy because he loves her for real this time, and she can tell, which is why they end up in bed together. I don't think that it's implied that they don't actually sleep together. They sleep next to each other, but they don't
together,
sleep with
but
each
they
other.
don't fuck.
Yes. I was trying to be sweet about it because we're in the sweet part of the movie. God.
And then 6 o'clock in the morning, babe, ba 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 ba, I got you, babe.
Do you think he was like, what the fuck? That was the perfect day? But there were no rules established technically, so he doesn't know if it's ever going to break, the loop. Yeah.
And then on comes Brian Doyle Murray. Oh, that's a great song. I love that song.
It was cool the first 12 times we heard it or some shit. Then he make some comment about that?
And then Rita reaches across Phil's chest and feels like, what the fuck? And she turns off the music.
So it's the next day, and Phil's very excited. He gets up, goes to the window, goes, they're gone! And she's like, you're weird.
Like,
why am I here?
What the fuck are you talking about? No, it's a really nice scene because what we get to see, especially in that very first interaction with them still in the bed, is we get to see that Phil retained his charm and his sense of humor, but he gained that genuineness that is what was lacking,
He's like a person now.
Yeah. Now he's not just, a completely self-obsessed piece of shit.
They're totally gonna fuck, right after the camera cuts away, though.
Oh, no, because they are 100% about the
because he's very happy, and he turns to her, he starts kissing her and kissing her neck, and she's like, why weren't you like this last night or some shit?
And then we cut to 90 to 120 minutes later.
He has 1,000 years of
pent-up sexual frustration. And they walk out the front door, and Phil goes, let's live here.
If I was that into a girl, I probably wouldn't even be able to get it up.
Well, okay.
My anxiety fucking ruins me.
Sex aside, because there's definitely that could have gone any direction. But it's funny because I just thought about it this time watching it. He walks out and he looks at the snow-covered world and he goes, it's so beautiful. And I just realized this time, he's never seen this place in this light. Like, he's lived here for 1,000 years, but he's never seen it like this because the blizzard always comes in the evening. And so he's never woken up and seen a snowy morning in Punxsutawney before, even though he's lived, 50 lifetimes.
He does walk out and they're like, he's like, let's live here together in Punxsutawney. Fuck that noise.
He's like, we'll rent to start. Like As if she had agreed. She didn't say shit. He's just like, yep, this is happening.
Because guess how long they've technically known each other?
2 days.
1 day, 2 days. Yeah, 2 days.
2 days. Exactly 2 days. And she's
So-
like, you're moving a little fast here, aren't you, Phil?
Which brings us to the next fucked up part of this. So I knew there was a thing on Cracked, an obsessive pop culture disorder about why the 90s was so shitty to Andy McDowell.
Okay.
And of course this movie came up. And Daniel O'Brien, who is my favorite, who doesn't work at Cracked anymore, but they still have...
Hasn't for quite a few years.
Obsessive Pop Culture Disorder is one of the best shows on the fucking internet.
Did he
100%.
go off and do a version of that?
He
separate
might
from
have.
Cracked?
I follow him on Instagram. He never posts about anything.
Oh, okay. Maybe he didn't. Maybe I'm thinking of someone else.
There is a couple people from Cracked that went on to do their sort of same show.
That's probably
somewhere
what I'm
else.
thinking of, yeah.
I can't remember their names, and I can't remember. It was like Midnight something. They're the ones who sit at the diner and like bullshit.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But he said like,
While Phil does tell Andy about his powers in one of his magic days, he doesn't in the timeline where they actually end up together and we finally get to move forward in time. So she'll go through the rest of her life with one story. When we first met, I thought he was an asshole, but then we had this amazing day together and it felt like we'd known each other forever and there was such an instant deep connection, unlike anything I'd ever experienced. And he'll go through his life with another story. I was an asshole when we first met. And then again, for like 600 more days straight. And then after I'd slept with like 90% of women in Punxsutawney between 18 and 84, I spent, I don't know, 10,000 hours learning how to be the best at loving Annie McDowell and also piano. It's never made explicit in the movie, but I almost definitely sexually assaulted her at some point, right? You'd assume so. If I killed myself multiple times and stole a groundhog and knowingly let people die, surely you'd have to conclude that I at least once forced myself on Annie McDowell after I got sick of her rebuking my advances. Using my time powers to rape is still just extra steps rape, right? No reason to assume I wouldn't occasionally downgrade to regular rape. I'm clearly at rock bottom in the midpoint of this movie. Hard to think about, but it probably happened. Two different stories, and she will never, ever truly know what kind of person he is because she's missed years and years of his life because of magic.
yes, fuck. Like this relationship is doomed.
She just met him.
Yeah, this relationship it is not working.
Oh, she is going to get so skeezed out by how intimate he is with her, like how familiar he is with her.
He is head over heels. He's legitimately in love with her. And she's like, "You were a super huge dick yesterday."
Literally yesterday.
So, yeah.
She's known him for 2 days. One day he was a total asshole. Next day, sweetest guy in the world. As far as she's concerned, he's a fucking schizophrenic or something.
Bipolar.
Completely bipolar.
Yeah, and then if he stays super sweet, she'll be wondering, when's the other shoe going to drop? When is he going to start acting like a dick again?
She will just be expecting that shit to come because he was a huge asshole right out the gate.
That's something. It's fucking weird. But then he also goes on to talk about that movie Michael with John Travolta. You know, the one where he's in the Archangel.
Was in that? I don't even remember. I barely remember that movie.
And Multiplicity.
That came out during like the worst phase of movies for me in terms of forgettability.
I remember it because...
Now, I do love Multiplicity. Multiplicity,
because it's Michael Keaton, of course.
Yes. You know I love Michael Keaton.
And he suggests in that, he's like, so each of these each of the clones, like, and it's shown that they each have their own personalities and stuff. They all had sex with Andy McDowell, didn't they?
At some point, I believe, yes.
And she'll never know because does the movie just end with them all going away and her not knowing a goddamn thing about it?
Something like that.
That's pretty fucked up, honestly.
It's pretty dark now that I think about it. Yeah, that's a little dark.
Poor Andy McDowell. But you haven't seen Magic Mike?
I have not seen Magic Mike. I also haven't seen Sex, Lies, and Videotape.
So she's in Magic Mike 2. And there's a character in Magic Mike played by Joe Manganiello whose dick is so huge that it's hard for him to find people to have sex with. So
of course it's him. Of course.
They meet her and they fuck because she can take it. So she wins. Finally, that was the thesis there.
Her ultimate triumph.
Yes, at the end of that obsessive pop culture disorder episode, she wins in Magic Mike. Double XL, the second one.
Took her what, 25 years?
Yeah. It's fine.
She was in an episode of Mr. Mayor starring Ted Danson in which she played herself, a shitty version of herself who just wants to not have a garbage transfer station built in their section of, I think it's Beverly Hills or something like that.
She's so like sugary sweet in all of her movies. I hope she's a nice person in real life.
Of course you hope that. You never know. But the reason I'm inclined to believe she is because she plays such a shitbag in that episode of Mr. Mayor that it's like nobody who's a real shitbag would do that, you know, like real shitbags are guys like Trump who are like, no, you can't make, or Steven Seagal, who, you know, anytime you try and make any fun of them, they're just like, no, you can't fucking do that.
Are you saying that Steven Seagal takes himself way too seriously?
Just a little bit, yeah.
I wouldn't take myself seriously if I had hair like that.
Okay, but all right, Donald Trump and Steven Seagal aside.
They could be brothers. They look alike.
They do look like they could at least be cousins.
Anyways, Andy Macdowell, we're sorry the 90s happened to you.
We love you in this movie, and yeah, genuinely sorry that relationship is surely doomed.
Unless you count the video game.
That's true.
Where they have a kid. That doesn't mean it worked out for them.
If the video game is considered canonical, then I think they're still together in that, which takes place like 25 years later. Who created the video game? That's the real question.
When asked about a sequel in 2018, Macdowell said it would never happen because I know Murray, he's not going to do it.
I don't know. They said that about Ghostbusters.
A video game narrative sequel was released in September 2019. Groundhog Day, Like Father, Like Son, was developed by Tequila Works and published by Sony Pictures Virtual Reality for the PlayStation VR, Oculus Rift, HTC Vive, don't know what the fuck that is. The game casts players as Phil's son, Phil Connors Jr., who is growing up in the shadow of his beloved father. Phil Jr. becomes trapped in his own time loop in Punxsutawney and is forced to help others and improve himself to earn his freedom. It received mixed critical reviews.
I'm still curious.
What I was hoping to find was this just seems like the type of movie that would have a book sequel.
Yeah, that's fair. I think a lot of people have tried to remake this movie.
Well, Christmas Every Day, Palm Springs.
But, you know, in fairness, I think this movie may have itself been an attempt to make a comedic version of the novel Replay. It's a sci-fi novel from the 1980s, and it involves a guy suffering a fatal heart attack and waking up 18 years old.
So it's like 17 again, 13 going on 30, but backwards.
Yeah, like he's in his 50s in the 1980s.
17 again, the other one.
The guy's in his 50s and it's the 1980s, and he suffers a fatal heart attack, and he wakes up, and it's some day when he was like 17 or 18 years old. So he lives through his life again, and then he dies again at the same time of a fatal heart attack, and then he wakes up and he's 18 again. It has all the same appeal as Groundhog Day, only it's like a serious sci-fi novel. So I don't know if that was the first time loop story, but that's certainly the oldest one I've come across. That does not make it the definitive oldest one, just the oldest one I've come across. But I really enjoyed it. I love time loop stories. They just work.
I think that does it for Groundhog Day. Have we said our piece? Even though I didn't take notes, took me a while to get into the rhythm, but I figured it out. It's okay.
I've said my piece. Michael Shannon is in this movie, and that blew my mind for the second time, apparently, because I'm living my own personal Groundhog Day, only where I don't remember it happening before.
I 100% told you because that is not something I would have missed.
I don't doubt it for a second because
I still
know
have
how
the recording.
Fucked up my brain is.
I still have the recording. I can send it to you if you want to listen to it.
I don't need evidence.
Any final thoughts that we need besides Michael Shannon and WrestleMania?
Maybe just start by trying to not be a shitty person to begin with, and then you won't need your own personal Groundhog Day. Because as much of a fantasy as it seems like, it's only a fantasy at first, and then it turns into a horror show.
I was going to say, I could go a good week. I think a good week of doing the same day over and over again, but it's never a fucking good day, though. It's always dumb, shitty
I could
day.
probably go years having fun with it, but the fact is, eventually, it becomes a horror show.
My final thoughts. Groundhog Day is a really good movie. I'm surprised I didn't watch it more growing up.
I'm shocked.
It's not one we had in the house.
Nothing you can do about that. You were the kid, so it really wasn't on you to have it around.
But it's a good movie. Everybody should watch it. Go buy the fucking 4K. Go buy the video game, play it, and tell us if you like it.
Yeah, do. Let us know.
I'm not spending money on a VR headset. So
no, I'm not spending money on a VR headset.
I'd probably throw up.
My sister has an Oculus, so maybe if I can get her to download it, I can go over to her place and play it.
Well, I think that does it for Groundhog Day. We're done. We're done with that shit. You can do the thing and follow us on all the social media nonsense.
Speaking of repeating ourselves.
To the Shark Pod. You know what, guys? We're starting a new year. We're doing a year in the asylum. By the time this is out, we'll have fucking our first year in the asylum episode out on Avengers Grimm, which is a bunch of sexy ladies who are also Disney princesses, but they're not Disney princesses because copyright and stuff.
Fighting Casper Van Dien
as Rumpelstiltskin, and it's fucking weird.
I can't help thinking of Robin Williams in Mrs. Doubtfire saying Rumple Foreskin.
The movie is as dumb as it sounds.
It is.
And it was kind of delightful.
It was awesome.
So this month we're going to talk about a movie called Bound, which is 50 Shades of Grey.
Which is in the mail.
That's going to be awful. And I don't think I'm going to enjoy that as much. That's going to be
am
really awkward.
Not excited about this one.
That's going to get really dirty. We're going to get really gross. My dog has been hanging out with us the whole time we've been recording this. You can hear all that and our 2021 the 13th, which we did last year, which we reviewed every Friday the 13th movie. You can find all that shit on patreon.com/sharksacrosshollywood. At any level, you can give us $1, you can give us $1 million. You'll get the episode. And if you give us $1 million, I don't know what the fuck to give you because we don't have any money to give you anything with yet.
Lifetime membership.
Yes,
you
lifetime
give $1 million,
membership.
that is a one-time. You don't have to renew after that.
You can if you want, though.
But you don't have to.
Monthly. $1 million monthly.
If you give $1 million monthly, you're going to be getting some very nice emails from us. I'll be like, hey, thank you. You are a good person and handsome.
And your dick is huge.
The end. That's how I end all my emails.
The end. So that's it. Patreon.com/sharksacrosshollywood. What are we doing next time? I know what we're doing next time. The first 3 episodes of 2022 have been us not necessarily pandering, but these movies are very popular. Spider-Man, Scream, Groundhog Day. Everybody's seen them or at least heard of them. Everybody knows what they are. Next time, we're done pandering for a while because we're gonna watch a movie that I am sure 4 people have seen. By next week, at least 5 people have seen it. Or not next week, in a couple weeks. At least 5 people will have seen this movie. And if you watch it with your kid, 6 people will have seen this movie.
Could go as high as 7 if my daughter comes over.
We're talking about a movie called Automaton Transfusion.
Oh, fuck, that's right.
There aren't any robots in it. We'll talk about why and all that shit when we get to it. Come back next time when we talk about a zombie movie that nobody's ever fucking heard of, and it's fucking awesome, in my opinion.
I've heard of it. I just haven't seen it.
Okay, well, of course you've heard of it. Granted, the people that listen to this dumb shit probably have heard of it also. So come back and listen to us talk about it. It'll be fun. But until then, stay jawsome.